Hi guys, John the firearms instructor, and welcome back to our channel. I'm glad you're here. If you're new to the channel, my name is John Johnson. I'm the owner and operator of a firearms training facility in beautiful Cape Coral, Florida. We're on the southwest side of Florida, somewhere between Naples and Tampa. If you ever get a chance to come see us, we would love to have you. We're an indoor gun range that specializes in teaching students how to shoot a gun. If you're one of our loyal subscribers, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I love that you support a family-owned business. You guys are awesome. And continue supporting us by hitting that swag button on our descriptions. We have a lot of t-shirts and things like that, that when you buy that stuff, it doesn't make us a ton of money, but it helps us break even on some of the equipment we use to make these videos. All right, so all that being done, that business is gone. We actually physically are going to talk today. I had a video that I put up, and we had a bunch of people ask questions about the basics. I mean, handgun safety, how to pick a pistol up right, all the little things. So I thought I'd do a little bit of a video for the newbie. I know some of you guys are on here that shoot off a lot, but there are some people watching this video that are thinking about buying a pistol or shooting a pistol or going to the range, and they are very, very, very intimidated. And I get it, guys. You've been told your whole life that these are deadly weapons. Now, a firearm, I did a video a couple days ago that a firearm is not a deadly weapon. What makes it a deadly weapon is ignorance. And if you're watching this video, I think you're pretty smart. So let's talk about what a firearm is and what it isn't. I told you before, a firearm is just a tool and it needs to be operated. But there are some things you need to make sure you follow on a regular basis. Now, you've heard the handgun safety rules multiple times. But we're going to repeat them today because somebody on this video has never heard of them. If I asked you today what was the #1 handgun rule of all handgun rules, and I ask in every class I do, and I get a lot of people, keep your finger off the trigger, which is a great rule, right? And all that stuff. And sometimes treat the gun as it's loaded. And some people say never pointed at anything. Well, those are all great. But the #1 handgun rule that I teach my students at all times is treat the weapon if it's always loaded. This is a matter if it's a pistol, rifle, shotgun, or frying pan, they are always loaded. I'm joking about the frying pan, obviously, but if you're a man or a woman, you get in trouble. Sometimes you get conked on the head, right? Let's hope not. That's a joke. Guys, treat the weapon if it's always loaded. If the weapon is always loaded, where's your finger not going to be? On the trigger, right? What are you not going to point it at? Anything you love and don't want to destroy. And #4 is know your target and what's beyond. Why is what's beyond so important? Because if you're firing a weapon at something, that bullet does not stop until it hits the ground. So if you're shooting at a bad guy and you're in a Walmart or a movie theater where there's a lot of soft targets there, you're responsible for your bullet until it hits the ground. Hurt the bad guy and 3 other innocent bystanders, you're no longer a hero. So let's repeat this one more time for the newbies. Treat the weapon if it's always loaded. Keep your finger off the trigger till you're ready to fire. Never point the weapon at anything you love and don't want to destroy. And always keep the weapon, or always know your target and what's beyond. Pretty simple, guys. Pretty simple. Now, being that, we got to get our head around how to pick up a weapon. And I'm going to give you a little tip I give all my students. All right. So do you realize you have a gun in both hands? There they are. We've been using these for a long time. But the little trick I'm going to give you is you make a gun. I'm going to pick this pistol up. By the way, guys, this is a dummy gun. You can see the orange up here. It's a toy. It's got a toy magazine. It works really well. But what I want to show you, and I'm going to face this way if you can see it. I'm going to make a gun to pick up a gun. Now, do I pick the gun up with my finger on the trigger? We just went through the rules. That's not allowed. Where do we want to be? Do you see this slide up top here? This part right here is called the slide. Now, a semi-automatic pistol, that goes back and forth. And this bottom piece is called a frame. So you want to grab the weapon. You want to be high on the tang. You're going to make that pistol, make that gun to pick up the gun. And it's going to look something just like that. Now, we always talk about you don't want to be on the frame, you want to be on the slide. So that's called upstairs. So when I tell you to pick the gun up with your pistol and keep it up top, this is what I talk about. There it is. There it is. Now that we have the weapon picked up, our fingers off the trigger, we're not covering, we're not hovering, we don't have it down here, we don't have it anywhere but off the trigger. I'm going to flip to the other side, and if you look here, guys, I am high on the weapon, and I've made a void right there. And that void's going to allow us to put our other thumb in that void. Now, what I recommend is you turn your wrist and point your thumb out like that. Can you see that, guys? Now, we're going to slide this thumb and hand into this groove. Watch this. There it is right there, guys. All right? So if you look here between these two fingers, look how they're almost parallel, right? They're next to each other. That's what we want. We don't want any gapping. We don't want any thumb pull. We don't want any hand grips or anything else like that. So as we drive this weapon out, we're going to squeeze harder with this hand and lighter with this hand. So there we are. And then we're going to align our sights, front post, back post. And then when you know everything is perfect and you've got the weapon pointed in the safe direction and you ready to engage the trigger, that's when you engage the trigger. Pretty simple and easy. All right, got the grip there. This is called a magazine. Magazines themselves hold the bullets. I tell all my students that the magazine is the life of the gun. If you think about this, can the pistol load itself? Can the bullet load itself? The magazine can't really load itself either, but the magazine holds the bullets. So if we load the magazine, we pick the gun up with a gun, lay it in, stick it in, and rack the slide, right? At that point in time, we are loaded. We go out there and get our grip. Remember, we're going to put our thumb. Reason why our thumb is pointed this way, see what happens to the wrist? If you keep your wrist in a locked position, you're going to control that muzzle flip. That muzzle flip won't happen. You keep your wrist broke, you're going to break your wrist during the shots, and that causes that muzzle flip to go boom, 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 right? So we're going to put it in, we're going to lock our ends, we're going to push it out, drive it out, and we want to rack this slide, we're going to bring it up to our chest and rack it hard, just like that, guys. No riding it in or anything else. You want to rack it hard, then drive it out, find your sights, and slowly press the trigger. Boom, the weapon will fire. You'll do that 4 or 5 times. Now the weapon is at slide lock. This happens when you have an empty magazine in the gun. The weapon is telling you something. What is it telling you? It's telling you to feed me. I'm hungry. I want more rounds. You drop the magazine. There are a lot of different ways of dropping a magazine. You can actually, if your thumb was big enough, you could turn this and it will drop right out of your hand. What I do is I use my left thumb, press the button. If I looked at the magazine and it had rounds in it, I would stow it in my pocket. But if it didn't have rounds in it, I would throw it because I don't want that magazine at my feet in a tactical situation or a defensive situation. Empty magazine with no rounds in it, what's it worth? Empty magazine with rounds in it could save your life, so you don't want to dump that. So we come out of our pocket, put the new mag in, back in the gunfight we are, right? So that's loading a magazine. And I've done a video on how to load a magazine. It's probably the toughest thing to teach you, but we won't do that right now. But let's say you know how to do that, and you already loaded another magazine in the gun. Now we are done shooting for the day. How do we unload a semi-automatic pistol the proper way? Now, we could pull the trigger 5, 6, 7 times. I don't think you want to do that in your living room, right? So, here we come up. There's a magazine in the gun. What are we assuming? We know for a fact that in our brain, anytime we look at a weapon, it is loaded. Get that in your brain right off the bat. Because this weapon, with magazine in or magazine out, and most firearms will fire or shoot with magazine in and or magazine out. There are a few weapons out there that have a magazine disconnect, which kills the trigger when the magazine is out, but don't count on that, guys. So how would I physically unload this pistol? Well, I'm going to tell you, you're going to need to take the life out of it. And what I tell you the life was? The magazine. So take the magazine out first. Now the magazine's out. Are we unloaded? Not yet. Where can the round be? Right here, right? So now what I'm going to do is I reach up here and I'm going to rack it. Now if there was a round in that chamber up here, it'll fell out on the floor. And then I do it a few more times. Then I'm going to bring it back to slide lock and I'm going to visually check the barrel and I'm going to look down and physically check the slide. I'm going to flip this up for camera purposes. A semi-automatic pistol with the magazine out, you can see daylight all the way through it, guys. Unlike a rifle or a shotgun, it's hard to look down at these here. You can see right through there. So now we know the gun is unloaded. So here's your acronym. Ready? I'm going to restage it for you. Your acronym is DROP. D-R-O-P. Drop the magazine. Rack the slide. Open the slide. Physically check the weapon. D-R-O-P will save your life or someone you love. Ready? Let's do it. Make a gun to pick up a gun. Take our thumb. Drop the magazine. That's the D. Rack. Open. Physically check. You notice I didn't turn the barrel up to check it. I brought the weapon to me. And that's one thing very important to understand. I told you before, handgun safety starts with you keeping the weapon pointed downrange at all times. This is one of my things I get most people here at the range is they turn the gun to drop the magazine, or they turn the gun to look at it, or they turn the gun like this to look at it, where you're flagging the roof and you got the gun going towards your face. If you need to look at this pistol or something's going on with it, you can always step to the side and bring your arm in. I'll do that to the camera. Step to your side and bring your arm in. That way you can see everything you need to do while keeping it on your table, down your range, and everything else like that. Guys, shooting a pistol is not complicated. It's complex, and there's a lot of moving parts. I urge you, if you're near here, to come see us. We would love to put you through one of our training classes and get you comfortable. Confidence is a big deal, no matter what you do. Now, if it's cooking, driving, fishing, or anything else like that, if you're not confident, it's going to be challenging for you. So building your confidence will build your accuracy. And remember, in a high defense situation, we're not worried about bullseyes. We're worried about the vital triangle, which starts at the shoulders and goes to the groin. But if you're not here, you're somewhere else, because these videos go all over the world. And I mean that because we're getting people in India and everything else that are looking at it still baffles me today. A small family-owned business in Cape Coral, Florida, has people from India and Spain and Germany and all over the place looking at our website. We're looking at our YouTube channel. It humbles me so much, to be honest with you, and such nice compliments and everything else like that. That's awesome. I would recommend you find a great instructor. Now, I'm a United States Concealed Carry Association instructor. I'm an NRA instructor. Both of those websites can find good instructors in your area. You can actually go in, put your zip code in, there'll be somebody in that area. Or hop your butt in a plane. It's Florida, guys. It's cold in the winter. Come down and see us and book a class. Before you even leave your house, you'd have training done. You'd have it booked for you and everything else like that. We would love to have some of our YouTube students come train with us, and we bust out the camera equipment and videotape it as well, so you'll be part of our team. Until next time, guys, God bless, be safe, and remember, you are your first line of defense. One question for you. Do you think the world's getting safer? Or is it getting worse? Until next time, guys. See ya.